The following segment is sponsored by Smith Injury Law and 300hurt.com.
We're starting to get out on the roads a little bit more now, which probably feels pretty good. But what goes without saying is that more cars on the roads means more accidents. And how exactly should you react if you end up in a collision? There's a lot you need to know. Earlier this year, we sat down with Richard Smith of Smith Injury Law to discuss.
First, let's talk about your book. In writing 10 critical mistakes to avoid if you're injured in a car accident, what was your goal?
Mainly is to help people. I mean, people who are not involved in accidents all the time and don't do this for a living like I do, they make mistakes over and over again, which hurts their case tremendously. This is a very good way to get the evidence across to them so they understand if you're in an accident, there are several things you shouldn't do and some things you should do before getting in an accident as well. So it's all covered in the book there.
You don't want to give a recorded statement to your insurance company without an attorney present. Talk to us about why that's important.
Well, they ask sometimes a lot of questions that you don't know the answer to, like how many car lengths were you before you saw the other car, or how long did it take you to apply your brakes. Time and distance questions in particular are very difficult for people to get the answer correct on. And you don't want to say the wrong thing, which you're guessing sometimes. I'm not saying you're not lying, you're just guessing. And your guessing can be a very big problem in your case. It may give them a defense to what happened liability-wise in your case if you guess on stuff like time and distance.
And not understanding insurance coverage is an important thing that a lot of people, they're not very aware of.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very important to get liability insurance, which is required, but what's even more important is underinsured coverage. Underinsured coverage pays if the person that hits you doesn't have enough insurance coverage. In South Carolina, our limits are $25,000 per person, $50,000 per occurrence. So it doesn't take a lot of medical bills to use up the entire $25,000. So unless you have underinsured coverage, that's all you can get is whatever the defendant has by way of insurance, unless you file suit, go to trial, get a verdict in excess of their policy limits, and then try to collect personal assets. It's very difficult to do.
Any other of the previous mistakes that we've been covering that you think are especially important to point out?
Well, like I said earlier about getting your evidence preserved, taking photographs, don't delay getting your medical treatment. It's another big issue as well. But also, you know, getting the proper insurance, we discussed briefly just then, is very, very important. I mean, people don't understand that. They think that, okay, if I'm in an accident, if I get, seriously injured, there's going to be enough money on the other side to pay me, and that's not the case. It only comes down to how much insurance coverage the other side has. So protect yourself, get underinsured coverage, get as much as you can afford to get, and that way you're protected in case somebody hits you and they don't have much insurance.
It's worth asking those questions, and I'm sure your clients have a lot of questions for you about the right insurance policies that they need.
Absolutely. A lot of times people buy insurance on by going online and just doing some questions. Talk to an agent. If you have a question about insurance, talk to an agent. And if you understand what underinsured coverage is, it's very important, because that's the only insurance coverage out there that can actually protect you against somebody else not having enough insurance when they hit you and cause a bad accident.
Perfect. And if I can just throw this out here, you said you were seeing a backup on 85.
Absolutely.
It's an accident that happens, and that got us talking about dash cameras.
Yeah.
More and more people are getting those dash cameras so that they can document what really happened. How important is that?
It's very important. I think one of your assistants has one, and they're not very expensive. I think they're about $100, and it would decide any issues of who's at fault. If you've got a dash camera, it says that your light was green and not red when the accident happened. It's very important to have that. It's not very expensive, and it would save you a lot of money, because obviously if it's your claim against your own insurance company for collision coverage, it's a lot more expensive than if somebody else pays your damages for you because they're at fault. So I definitely think it's worth the money.
You can request a copy of Richard Smith's book by going to 300hurt.com. He also wants you to know he's very available. He's following social distancing guidelines, but he's there if you need help. And legal issues don't stop because of a pandemic. So you can call 300hurt or go to 300hurt.com to connect with Richard Smith.